Hello, I'm Shelby Davis,
And I'm Elizabeth Petruccione.
and this is If Not Now When, live from home. Welcome back to another episode live from home. Elizabeth, how you been?
Good. I was thinking about if not now, when, that's the name of our show. And I
Mm-hmm,
was thinking that people should know that maybe never is the answer to that. Right?
absolutely,
Because why should you torture yourself if you are never going to do it?
absolutely. I
No,
agree.
no matter what it is, why keep torturing yourself if it's not going to happen?
Right,
So
right.
I love the idea of being able to, just say, it's okay, you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that
So,
note, how's your quarantine been going? With all that said,
well, my husband made mac and cheese and a cake. How do you think it's going?
it looks like it's going very yummy.
Like
That's
that.
why I need to come to your house and have some of that.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, dear God.
Oh my goodness. As you can see, since the quarantine, we've been filming these shows live from home. Usually we'll be in the studio with our crew and our guests. Elizabeth will be next to me and our guests are on the other side, but we're doing them from home so that we're all safe during these times. With that being said, I do want to welcome our guests to our show today. They are the host of a podcast called Craft Talk. Please welcome Steffon, Sampson, and Noel Roberge. Welcome to If Not Now When, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Fun, how no,
It's going.
right?
Thanks for joining us. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Get through it. We're all in the same boat, so we're all just getting through it.
Yeah.
Yes. So these two wonderful guys, they are actors, they are friends from high school, they are musicians, they are singers, and now they host a podcast called Craft Talk. Today we're talking about what is our craft, what are we good at. So guys, tell us about your podcast and what you do.
Yeah, so Craft Talk essentially was built to help people find ways to their craft on a professional level. We're talking like anything from singing, dancing to like painting and so on and so forth. We Our objective is to bring guests onto our show and kind of talk about where they are now and how they've gotten there and what advice can they give to anyone pursuing those same kind of paths.
Yeah, we learn everything that we know from the people that we've met doing this. So our goal is to bring those people into a more condensed circle so other people can hear about it.
Right. What made you want to start this show?
I would have to say more than enough drinking cast parties where you're sitting around with your buddies talking about something, and then it's just like, we can't be the only people that think like this. We can't be the only people that feel this way and that go through this. So there's got to be other people out there that want to hear about it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like we find ourselves like Noel and I are the kind of people that didn't go to like school for like we're both obviously actors. We didn't go to school for that, so we're kind of like, playing the guessing game. And so like what do we do next? Like, if we wanted to take our profession to New York or something like that, how do we do that? So I think with the questions that we had surrounding us, we kind of like took it, to like let's put it down on paper and kind of ask the right people.
Yeah, we knew that we could have a conversation that people wanted to listen to also, while also getting our questions answered as well.
Right.
All
Right.
classroom.
So it's kind of almost like a behind the music type thing, like one of those VH1 behind the music special kind of thing. You get to see what's happening behind the scenes. It also reminds me of that show back in the '90s, like making the band, or what was the other show on MTV? Some music where they show you like the happenings of what it takes from the rehearsal process to being on stage. That's what it kind of seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do not understand what it takes to actually put on a play or a musical, or, they see you. When I first started doing plays, I thought they had cue cards.
That's
Well,
funny.
Crazy. Well, who knows? You know what I mean? If you've never done theater before, you wouldn't know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like I
And I think
thought,
that's what we do. We kind of like open the curtain as to those behind the scenes kind of thing. It's funny because one of our episodes we actually do talk about that. We talk about like as an outsider, you don't realize the amount of blood and sweat that goes into like putting up a show for 2 weekends, you know. We put it on for 2 weekends, but we've been rehearsing like week after week for like 3 months, you know. So a lot of people don't realize that, and they see just an end product, you know.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. And I mean, when you have to memorize this amount, you're no one understands it. They think you're just like ad libbing or something.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
oh, and the other thing I thought was that you just walked wherever you wanted on stage.
Mhm. Mhm.
Ooh, no, I have learned the hard way many times that is not what you do. Um, yeah, your director, your lighting designer will not be very happy with you if you just walk wherever you please.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was I was young and stupid.
Yes. Has there ever been a time, and you think of in your theatrical history, that you were on stage and something didn't go right? Can you tell us a little bit what happened? How you got
When
out
has
of that
that not
moment?
happened?
I don't know. I mean, like, I just want to like whip out a whole scroll of things. That's kind of the beauty of live theater is that it is kind of run by Murphy's Law. Like it's kind of like the what will happen, and you have to. It is live theater. That's why I don't discredit film and I don't discredit TV. But there is something to be said about the fact that you only get one shot. Like it's not like, oh, all right, yeah, let me get back to my mark, take from the top. It's all right. Once this train goes, you're off for the next 45 minutes or an hour until it's intermission time. That's your only break.
That's your only break. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
so true. That's so true. We only have this one shot to do it, you know, and and I think that's what separates like actors from great actors. You know, your ability to kind of like adapt to the situation whenever it throws at you. And I think that's another part that heightens the energy when you come to a stage. You know, you have this idea that it can go wrong at any given minute, not just you, but the people you share the stage with. Anything can happen to them, and just knowing that you're constantly on edge, adrenaline's running, and I think that's a big thing that you get with live theater. It's a great feeling, I think.
We
Yeah,
we
so James, that's a lot of things to go wrong. And
Yeah.
we had a guy that did Harvey.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
I've dropped pages of dialogue before.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
been like, I guess I can't remember the rest of this, so I hope my recollection.
We had a
Yeah.
guy who did Harvey with us, and he was, he played the lead role, and he never memorized his lines.
Mhm.
So we were constantly saying things like, "You remember when you said about Harvey?"
That's funny.
But I'm good at ad libbing, so it wasn't really that hard on me.
Mhm. You know,
Good on.
since the quarantine's been happening, a lot of theater productions have been shut down with we don't know when they'll be starting again. What advice can you give to a young actor or any actor who needs to work on their craft or something that they can do to keep busy so they don't lose the spirit of the theater?
Use your time. Just because you're not standing on a stage or in a rehearsal room, what does Shakespeare say? All the world's a stage. It's you can do anything anywhere, and you need to understand that you can only get better by doing. So just because you don't have the place to go to do it, you got to make your own place. So I think that now is the time that we're going to see a lot of new writers bud, and a lot of new people find new facets. People that we know that are actors getting into writing, and vice versa. People that have been writing for people this whole time. Why can't I write for myself or have other people write for me? Like I think it's going to be. I think we're all going to be so ready to share when we come out of this that
Yeah.
we need this time to build that pile of things to share.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Piggybacking on that, I think now is the best time to kind of like, realize what you bring to the table and like what your weaknesses are. Really, work on trying to balance yourself out, depending what field you're in, it doesn't matter. Just know where you stand and then know where you can get better and utilize this time to get better because you have the time, so just
Yes,
use
not
it.
like you don't have the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Now is the time to master your craft, to work on your craft, make yourself better, and prepare for that audition when it's time again. Because those
Mm.
auditions will be here before you know it. And I don't think anyone is ready to
That's so
audition again.
true.
You know, you
Yep.
know. Speaking of auditions, what do you guys think is worse? After audition, during the audition, or before the audition?
There's pros and cons to each and every one of them, but before is definitely the worst because that's when you actually have time to think.
Mm.
And having time to think as an actor could be your best friend and your worst enemy. You could either unlock something, or you could just dive far too deep into it and never be able to pull yourself out, kind
Mm.
of thing. Yeah, I think prior to auditions is worse because you're not given anything.
Yeah.
There's no rubric. It's just you're going in trying to show yourself to somebody,
Mm.
and if you get past that thing, then they'll be like, cool, all right, learn these things and bring these to the table. And I
Yeah. Yeah. I think the after is just as effective as the before.
Hmm.
Because here you are, you've worked yourself up to like get the best audition process that you could possibly do, and now you're just waiting for an answer. And you don't know when that answer is gonna come. You're constantly checking your phone or checking your emails, what have you, and like it's just the waiting game. I think both of them hand in hand, the thing that kills you the most is just time. you know you have this time when you're in your head in the beginning, and now you have this time just like waiting at the end. So I think time is the biggest culprit between this audition process.
Yes, that the whole audition process is anxiety ridden. I know
Mm.
for me, it's like the singing part, and then getting in the room, and you're just like, what are the words to that song again? As soon as that first chord hits, you're like,
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Yes. What
Yep.
about you,
there.
Elizabeth?
See you later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love to audition. That's always fine for me. But it's
Mm.
not. But the nerves before going on stage, that's where my problem starts.
Yeah, yeah.
Once I'm on stage, apparently I'm just a ham.
I'll
Yeah.
take.
Yes. Okay. Now it's time for the burning question, guys. What is your favorite musical or role that you would love to see yourself in?
A question that changes kind of daily. If I had a favorite musical, it would be Jason Robert Brown for the last 5 years. And I'll just double up on that. Role I want to see myself do is Jamie in the last 5 years. So,
Yeah. I'm a huge like I'm not really, I'm new to the scene as far as theater goes, but like one show that really stuck out to me is Be More Chill. And there's this character named Michael in that show, and I think that's like one of my dream roles that like I would love to just see myself in. So that's what I'll be aspiring to, Michael from Be More Chill.
If you guys can go back and do a role over again, like it's something you've already played, what would it be?
huh. I already know Steffon's answer for sure. But I don't. I feel like I kind of have two answers to that question because we on one of our episodes we actually talked about like it, would we rather revisit a role that we've done that we loved so much, or would we rather like revisit a role that we're like I can do it better, I can do it differently, I know more now than then. But if I had to pick a role, it would be my favorite role I ever played was the guy in the show one. That was my favorite role ever. I would do it every day until the day I died if I could. But at the same time, I'd also like to go back and do what was it, Stefan? I'd like to do Spring Awakening again.
Spring Awakening, yeah.
It's never gonna happen.
We're
But
getting too old. That's the problem. Time again.
Steffon, what about you?
Uh, well, in the Heights. I've done the show like maybe like 5 times, and every
Wow.
time I keep going back. It's just like how Noel was talking about. I go back for the reason to see how far I've progressed in my career. Like, it's giving yourself an opportunity to pick up on things that you didn't do the time before. And I think the more you do something is the more you can like, really put yourself character. So in doing that show and the same character like so many times, I still come back and I find something new, and I make it new every time. So that is one show that I really like, I could do forever, every day if I want, if I could. But yeah, nice.
and I would come see you do it forever.
Yes. I would be expecting you front row every time, so.
What about you, Shelby, if you could do a rollover?
Yeah,
Have we lost Shelby?
I think he's frozen.
I think he froze.
Oh no.
What about you,
There,
Elizabeth?
Shelby.
What would you do?
If I had to do shows over, Gemini.
What is it?
Gemini. It's
Gemini.
a really good play. But if I got to pick a play that I was in or doing, I would want to play Auntie Mame or
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gypsy's mother.
Gypsy. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. All good stuff. Can you guys tell us where or what kind of stuff you guys want to talk about in the future on your podcast?
I think we're just trying to bring as many people in our world that we know into a room together. Obviously, during this social distancing time, is a little bit more difficult. But our initial goal was always to kind of make this kind of a roundtable kind of thing. We want to have multiple ends of the spectrum represented at all times. If we're going to do something theater related, we want to have a director, we want to have an actor, we want to have a stage manager. We want to have those three different ends of the spectrum talking about a thing.
Yeah, I think we're also looking for people who aren't like just professionals, people on every kind of level, like be it amateur, intermediate and whatnot. That way, there are people who don't have a start at all. So like this way, like we bring in somebody who doesn't have a name for themselves, but it's clearly on a path doing great things. That's like a stepping stone. So even someone like that will definitely help like what our mission is for our podcast.
And where can we find your podcast?
Wherever you listen to your podcast, you got iTunes, Spotify. Those are the only two platforms I use, but you can find it anywhere.
And we'll just put it in Craft Talk and it'll come up with no issue.
Yeah.
Wonderful. One of the things that we do here on the show every week is we do a weekly quote, something that means something to us and hopefully to you guys, and that we can reflect on in the weeks to come. Elizabeth, you want to share with us our weekly quote?
Yes. Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. And that's the Dalai Lama.
Yes. Steffon.
Possible.
Yeah, that's true. You too, but whenever we can. Steffon, what does that mean to you?
I want to be as nice as I can.
Yeah, I think that quote really talks to the idea that like, it just be good. Be good and true to yourself and to others, try to make the best out of everything and anything. There's always a positive side to the negative. So I guess I could say in a nutshell that quote is just to be balanced, with yourself and your surroundings. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Noel, what about you?
That's kind of just a better way of saying life's what you make it. You're in control. of your situation. If people are acting negatively towards you, it doesn't mean that you have to respond negatively back. It's harder to do that sometimes, but you always have that option.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh,
Very well. You
there's
have to be as nice as possible when possible.
Yes.
And as the theater says, the show must go on, right? The show must go
So,
on.
spider on me, a big gigantic tarantula.
Another thing that we do here on the show is we do a weekly pet peeve, something that we recognize that bothers us, and we hope that we can overcome that. And this week, my pet peeve is modern technology. We all need it. We have to use it, but you got to get used to it because it's not going nowhere, and we're going to have to be nice to it and work with it because we are in times where we need technology more than ever. Elizabeth, what about you? Any pet peeves this week?
I'm all on board with that. And spider.
Yes. Steffon,
Yeah,
Noel, do you guys have any pet peeves?
uh,
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with political post on Facebook. That's what I'm going
mm,
with this.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it
good
can be
one.
overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah. Mine's pretty basic. I don't like when people chew with their mouth open.
Ugh,
I don't know. I feel like now that we're home in this closure setting, like you see it more. It's been
hmm
annoying me more. So like that's my pet peeve.
Right. So,
Yeah, no, that will never. I will actually tell you. Please stop.
Yeah, I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
I can't handle it.
It's
absolutely.
fun.
Well, Stefan and Noel, I'd like to thank you for being on If Not Now When. Please continue to work on your craft and be the shining stars that you guys are. We can't wait to see you again on stage. So thank
Hey,
And
you.
we
thanks.
can't wait to see you at the theater, at the studio.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. We'll see you
we
Yeah,
hope
you
soon.
one day
know,
in the
you
future,
know,
maybe, yes, yeah, maybe next season we can all be in the studio together and we can
yeah.
shoot the show with no ease, no problems.
No problem. No spiders getting on me. My phone not falling out.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I'm Shelby Davis,
And I'm Elizabeth Petrichone.
and this is If Not Now When. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.